everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, I greatly appreciate you stopping by and checking it out. I know for the past few weeks I've been getting a lot of comments and interactions on my videos, a lot of subscribers. If you have subscribed recently, thank you guys so much. And hopefully after the end of this video, I'm probably going to have a poll somewhere about making some new content for the channel. Today's video is going to be pretty unedited, to say the least. I think I'm going to try and be as candid as possible with you guys and try and answer maybe some questions that some people have had in the comments section in some of my previous videos. We'll try and address some of them. So the question I get asked a lot is what I do for a living, what brought me into the technical realm that I'm in, and how I got to where I am today. A lot of people have questions as to what my experience is in IT and how I got there. So that's going to be kind of the basis of this video, is going to be how I got started in IT, what I'm currently doing, and what my future plans are. So I got started in IT probably unofficially. I got interested in IT when I was a lot younger, probably around the age of 8 years old actually. My parents used to get laptops and stuff, and when they would get them, somehow I would always end up breaking them. Well, that taught me a lot, because when I would break the laptops after punishing me, I would usually get the broken laptops and would try and fix them. So I didn't really have a great track record. My parents went through a lot of computers because of that. But initially, that's how I got interested in technology, was when I was much younger. But I didn't see that I would ever have it as a passion, nor did I ever plan on doing it for a living. So that led to, as I got older, I started getting a little bit more interesting in video games. And because I got interested in video games, I thought, well, I kind of want to know how they work. And so that got me in the technical aspect of coding. Now, I just started off as doing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, if you are somebody who is a programmer, you're probably thinking, well, that's not programming. You know, it is what it is. That's kind of what got me into the realm of coding, was those very entry level, languages. So I started getting into more of the front end development side of it, and that really became my passion. So I started making Android apps. I started making iOS apps, using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I never really taught myself Swift or any of those programming languages. In fact, I don't think Swift even existed back when I'm talking about, but I knew a little bit of C++, a little bit of C#. I started learning those programming languages because I wanted to, of course, keep advancing. But then high school comes around. I really didn't have any plans. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna leave high school. I'm gonna go to college for my bachelor's in computer science, and the rest will be history. I'll get a diploma, and that'll get me a job. So that kind of gives you an idea of where my thinking was at. And thankfully, I didn't go that route. So once I got out of high school, I went through this time period where I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think that I had the ability to perform the coding that I knew, or I didn't feel like that I had the ability to be in any IT position at all. So what did I do out of high school? I went and got a job at Walmart. That was my first real position for any company, was with Walmart. I started off in retail. Now, it wasn't ideal. It wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. But again, I didn't think that I had the ability that I had, if that makes sense. So I kind of felt like I didn't know enough. And so I never really jumped out of the boat, so to speak, and tried to push myself to do what I wanted to be doing. So I kind of worked out at Walmart for several years, and I was moving up within the company in management. And I had a guy that come in who will remain nameless, but he kicked me in the butt a lot, and he ultimately was the one that pushed me to leave Walmart. I got pretty comfortable there, but I had a lot of people telling me, hey, you could be doing so much better than what you are here. Why don't you step out, so to speak? And so that's kind of what happened. I ended up having a friend come through that left the company and went to another company, which is the company I'm at now. And he said, hey, I think you would be great here, and they're talking about hiring a web developer. I think you should apply for it. So that's kind of the way it worked out for me. Was I had someone that was already with the company that reached out to me and told me about a position that was coming open and thought I should apply for it. Now, prior to this, I actually did apply for web development positions, but because I had no experience, I usually never got a call back. With the exclusion of this company, when I applied for the position, I did get a call back. But I had another company who is a larger company here in the US that I did reach out to, and they were interested as well. So I just started applying places really to try and get my foot in the door and to get me at least somewhere started, because I know that's a huge question in the IT world, is how do you get started when you have absolutely no experience. So for me, I put on my resume, well, I made basic apps for iOS, basic apps for Android. I made websites, and I took in basically a portfolio, if you will, and showed that to this company that I was applying for. So even though I'd only worked in retail, with my experience of building very basic stuff, I took that experience and put that on my resume, to show that, hey, while I may not be a professional, and by all means, what I'm doing now, I'm not a professional, but I do know enough, I felt like, to at least get started somewhere. So I went in for the interview, and sure enough, it was pretty successful. They had a lot of intentions that I was a wizard, so to speak, and maybe at the time I knew more than I like to give myself credit, but compared to where I'm at now, I knew nothing. So I got my foot in the door with this company. I got started there, and that was what really launched my career for IT. Once I got in the company, I wasn't the head of IT at all. I wasn't. I was basically a nobody for this company, but I worked my way in the company and started, networking with other people that were web developers, other people that was in different fields, and I started learning a good little bit of stuff about other stuff, and I realized that programming was fun. Doing the front end web development, at this time, once I got hired on, I was doing a little bit of back end stuff, and it was fun, don't get me wrong, but in the back of my mind, I thought, is this really what I want to be doing with the rest of my life? Um, and so the IT manager at the time, he and I didn't get along very well for whatever reason. I'm not sure, but regardless, he pushed me a lot too, probably unintentionally. And he pushed me to start trying to learn networking. And it was a certification that he had. I knew he had a Network Plus, and in the back of my head, I had very little networking experience. So let me elaborate on that. When I was a lot younger, I used to live about probably about 5-10 minutes away from North Carolina, and we didn't have the best of internet. In fact, we only had, at the time of us leaving, we had 5 megabits down. But prior to that, we only had 1.5 for many, many years. And even before that, for a very long time, we only had dial up speed. Now, this was before, now there's Starlink and there's all these other options. This was before any of that even went around. So we didn't have very fast internet. And so when I was younger, I was always trying to stretch that bandwidth. And so here I was underneath the house plugging up, or, running Ethernet cables and installing a switch, or I think at the time originally I installed a hub, and then I installed a switch, because um, it was around probably 2010 when I really got interested in it and trying to improve it. I installed a new router in the house. I did all this extra stuff, but I didn't really have the knowledge of networking that I had now, and I didn't know that it could go as far as what I know now. So very basic stuff, I knew basic gateway stuff like that. So once I got started at this company as a web developer, I had in the back of my mind a little bit of networking experience or whatever. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna go after some certifications. I want to put something underneath my belt, so to speak, because in the web development side of it, I had, just mock-ups, or a very small portfolio, and then I was working for this company, so that got to go on my resume. But as far as growing and advancing my career in IT and trying to find something I was passionate about, I knew that I wanted to learn more about networking. So initially, I thought, well, I'll go after my Network Plus. So after I started to go on after my Network Plus, it was a little bit in that I came across the CCNA. And At first I was like, well, I'm going to complete the Network Plus and then I'll go after the CCNA. You know, that was in the back of my head what I originally thought I was going to do. But I heard at the time that the CCNA was probably the better certificate. And so I thought, well, should I get the Network Plus and kind of get a little initial beginner knowledge and then work my way up? Me, no, I didn't think so. So I knew that the IT manager at the time, he only had his Network Plus, and I don't think he had his CCNA. I'm pretty sure it was just Network Plus. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for the CCNA. And as I was working towards my CCNA, what ended up happening was is he was let go from the company, and I was approached, and they asked me. They said, "Hey, do you want to take over for a little bit?" It was more of the, from my understanding, it was more of a temp position. They were going to let me take care of all the IT stuff until they could find someone else. Because I, again, at this point, I'm still doubting my knowledge. So I have very basic, you know, server management and stuff like that. I have very basic networking skills. So it was more or less they were taking a huge chance by even letting me do it temporarily. But I'm very grateful for that chance because that's what really catapulted me. Because once I got in the position, I said, you know what, I'm going to really buckle down. I'm going to get my CCNA, then I'm going to look into server certificates and Microsoft certificates and cloud. And there was all these certificates that I was going for. But I ended up doing the CCNA really quickly. I think I completed it after I was in the position about 8 months. It took me to complete the CCNA, and at the time it was ICND1 and ICND2. So I did probably maybe 3 months each, and then for studying really, and then took the exams. So it was probably maybe 6 to 8 months altogether for my CCNA. But that's really what got me in the position that I'm in now. If you know from following my channel, I did recently complete the CCNP Encore exam, so I'm halfway to my CCNP. Networking is something that I really love and enjoy, and in fact, that is what I try and focus on mostly at the company I'm at. So the IT team now is a lot, it is small, it's just a two-man team, but I do oversee the operations and the network and the servers and everything else in between I touch. So that really explains how I got into IT. Now, what I'm doing now as the IT manager, so that it did end up working out, and it wasn't a temp thing, and I was promoted to the position full time, and I'm very grateful for that. So my day-to-day operations really consist of server management, end user management, pretty much anything to do technical I touch, even the smaller things that you may see at the company that you're at as a tier 1 or tier 2 thing. I do everything. So firewall policies, network policy, VLAN creations, print managements, really everything. And it's an awesome experience because um, since I do get my hands dirty, so to speak, with all of the things, I can improve the company altogether that way. Where if you're just a network engineer at a company, you may be limited in certain areas. So if you have an application that needs to be installed on a server to manage the network or monitor the network, you might have to go to the server team and ask them for permission or get them to set it up. Whereas with me, since I'm more of a full stack IT person, I can manage the network, the servers, I can have applications and really tune everything to work together and to work in an efficient manner. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I plan on hopefully posting some more videos, maybe going over in detail what I do, or maybe doing a day in the life. I'm not really sure. Again, I'm going to be putting a poll somewhere in this video, or so I'll put a poll, something asking you what I should do next, because I really have been getting a lot of attention on my channel, and I greatly appreciate that. But that's kind of I know this video is probably all over the place, and again, I'm not going to try and edit it as much because I want it to be more candid about who I am, what I do for a living. These past few weeks, I've been doing a lot of stuff at work, and in fact, I do have an exciting upgrade. Maybe I'll take you guys along for that pretty soon. Show you maybe the server room that we have. It is a smaller company, so it's nothing too grand and exciting, but it definitely has evolved and it's getting better and better. of course, each upgrade that I do, because with respect to the person previous to me, it was a mess once I took over. So I've been trying to resolve some of those issues over the few years, to get it to where it's at today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to leave down a comment below if you have any questions. Make sure you answer the questions in the poll, please, so I can know where to take this channel. I apologize if it was all over the place. I tried to make this as thorough as possible. So thank you guys for sitting down with me and taking the time. If you have anything that you'd like to ask me down in the comments, please be sure to do so. I know getting started in IT is not something that everyone knows exactly how to. It's kind of one of those fields where there's so many certifications, there's college, there's all these ways that you can get into IT. Not everybody's going to have the same path that I took. Not everybody's going to have the same opportunities that I had. And I'm very blessed to have had those opportunities. And I really hope people that watch this video find it helpful and maybe gives you a little guidance on how to get started, whatever the case may be. Again, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.